Captain Janessa Voss stared at the pulsing signal on the Starship Endeavour's main display, her dark eyes reflecting the rhythmic blue patterns. The signal had appeared 3 hours ago, unlike anything humanity had encountered in their decades of space exploration. First Officer Raj Patel moved closer, his weathered face creased with concern. "Analysis confirms it's not human in origin, Captain," he reported, his voice low but clear in the hushed bridge. "The signal pattern suggests a level of complexity beyond our current technology." The bridge crew of the Endeavour, humanity's most advanced deep space vessel, maintained their focused silence. They were already far beyond Earth's colonial territories, mapping the unexplored regions of the Carina Arm when they detected the signal. "Commander Zhang," Voss called to her chief science officer, "your assessment?" Lin Zhang looked up from her station, her augmented eyes adjusting as she processed the data. "It's definitely a distress signal, Captain. The mathematical patterns are universal, prime numbers, recurring sequences. Someone out there wants to be found." Voss nodded slowly, weighing the implications. Humanity had theorized about alien life for centuries, but despite colonizing several star systems, they had yet to make first contact. Now, their first interaction might be a rescue mission. "Distance?" she asked. "Approximately 47 light-years, Captain," Patel answered. "Even with our quantum drive, it would take us 3 weeks to reach them." Voss stood, her decision made. "Send word to Earth Command. We're going to investigate." The response from Earth came faster than expected, and with it, a surprise. They weren't going alone. The newly commissioned rescue fleet, consisting of 5 specialized vessels, would rendezvous with the Endeavour. Humanity had been preparing for first contact for generations. They weren't about to let their first impression be anything less than their absolute best. 2 days later, the fleet assembled. The massive medical ship Hope's Dawn, the engineering marvel technologist's Dream, and 3 support vessels formed up around the Endeavour. Captain Voss couldn't help but smile, trust humanity to turn a rescue mission into an armada of humanitarian aid. As they prepared for the quantum jump, Dr. Kenzo Ikeda, the fleet's xenobiologist, presented his preliminary findings. "The signal's complexity suggests a civilization at least as advanced as ours," he explained, his holographic presence flickering slightly in the briefing room. "But something has gone very wrong for them to broadcast on such a basic level." The journey pushed their ships to their limits. 3 weeks of quantum travel, making adjustments based on the continuing signal. When they finally dropped back into normal space, what they found stunned them all. A massive structure hung in space, its crystalline surface refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. But sections of it were dark, damaged. Around it, smaller vessels drifted, their power signatures weak or non-existent. "Life signs?" Voss demanded. "Thousands," Zhang reported, her augmented eyes processing the scanned data. "But they're failing. The structure's life support is critically damaged." "This is Commander Voss of the Earth vessel Endeavour," she broadcast on all frequencies. "We've received your distress signal and are here to help." The response came in a burst of mathematical sequences that their computers quickly decoded into comprehensible language. "Unknown vessels," a voice transmitted, its artificial translation carrying notes of both hope and desperation, "we are the Lissari. Our primary habitat suffered a catastrophic failure. Many of our people are trapped in quantum-locked sections. We did not expect anyone to come." Voss straightened in her chair, her voice firm and clear. "The people of Earth respond to those in need. We've brought doctors, engineers, and supplies. Tell us what you need." What followed was humanity's first major interstellar rescue operation. The Hope's Dawn deployed its medical teams, treating injuries unlike anything they'd trained for but adapting with remarkable speed. The technologist's Dream's engineers worked alongside Lissari technicians, finding innovative ways to merge their technologies to restore power and life support. When they discovered that the quantum-locked sections required precise harmonic frequencies to unlock, humanity's solution was characteristically bold. They modified their ship's quantum drives to generate the necessary frequencies, essentially turning their entire fleet into a massive key. Days turned into weeks as they worked tirelessly. The Lasari, a species of crystalline beings who had built their habitat as both home and scientific outpost, were initially overwhelmed by human persistence. When human engineers worked 30-hour shifts to stabilize critical systems, the Lasari began to understand that this wasn't just a rescue mission, it was humanity showing the galaxy who they were. 1 month after their arrival, Captain Voss stood in the newly restored central chamber of the Lasari habitat. First contact had come in the form of an emergency, but it had shown both species the best of each other. The Lasari had survived, their habitat was stabilizing, and humanity had gained not just scientific knowledge, but allies. "We will not forget this," the Lasari Prime, a crystalline being named Zwextal, communicated. "You came without knowing us, risked your lives and resources, all because we asked for help." Voss smiled, thinking of the thousands of human volunteers who had worked alongside the Lasari. "That's what humans do," she replied simply. "We help. And now that we know you're out here, you won't be alone again." As the rescue fleet prepared to return home, they left behind more than just repaired systems and medical supplies. They left hope that the galaxy was not as cold and empty as some had feared, and that when crisis struck, help might come from the most unexpected places. The Endeavor's quantum drive spun up for the return journey, but this time they carried with them the seeds of something new. Humanity's first interstellar alliance, born not from careful diplomatic meetings, but from the simple act of reaching out to help those in need. The quantum alert came 6 months after humanity's first contact with the Lasari. Admiral Voss, newly promoted after the successful rescue mission, was reviewing fleet deployments when the emergency transmission arrived. The Nexari, a species of energy-based beings, had encountered a catastrophic failure in their quantum fold drive. Their entire civilization, spanning what humans would call a small city, was trapped in a collapsing pocket of spacetime. The Lasari had immediately contacted Earth. They knew firsthand humanity's capabilities in a crisis. "The physics are unprecedented," Dr. Ravi Mehta explained in the emergency briefing. The quantum physicist's hologram flickered as he gestured at complex equations floating in the command center. The Nexari exist partially in quantum space. Their fold drive wasn't just for travel, it was maintaining their entire civilization's stability. Fleet Commander Marcus Turner, a veteran of deep space operations, studied the projections. "How long do they have?" 3 weeks before total collapse, Ravi replied. "But we'll lose them to quantum dissolution long before that." Admiral Voss watched the assembled human and Lasari experts debate possible solutions. The Endeavor's successful first contact had sparked a technological renaissance. Human quantum drive technology had merged with Lasari crystalline computing, creating possibilities that would have seemed like fantasy months ago. "We could modify the harmonic resonance technique we used for the Lasari rescue," suggested Lieutenant Commander Priya Patel, the fleet's youngest quantum engineer. Her dark eyes sparkled with the kind of crazy inspiration that had become humanity's trademark. "But instead of unlocking quantum-locked sections, we stabilize an entire quantum fold." The Lasari representative, Crystal Song in Darkness, chimed in through their translator. "Our crystalline matrices could help channel the quantum harmonics. But the energy requirements would be enormous." "Then we'll bring enough ships," Voss declared. The room fell silent. "How many would we need?" The calculations took hours. The final number was staggering: 50 ships, their quantum drives modified to generate a precise harmonic frequency, arranged in a perfect geometric pattern around the collapse point. One mistake in positioning could doom the entire operation. Earth's response was immediate: "Whatever you need." The next 2 weeks were a blur of activity. Ships were recalled from exploration missions. Engineers worked around the clock, modifying quantum drives with Lissari crystals. The Nexari's situation deteriorated, their messages becoming increasingly fragmented as quantum dissolution ate away at their civilization's edges. When the rescue fleet arrived at the coordinates, the sight was both beautiful and terrifying. The quantum fold looked like a tear in reality, its edges shifting with impossible colors. Inside, the Nexari civilization flickered like heat waves over hot pavement, their energy-based architecture pulsing with failing light. "All ships, take your positions," Voss commanded from the flagship Quantum Dawn. "Crystal matrices at full power. Begin harmonic sequence on my mark." 50 ships moved into formation, their modified quantum drives humming with power. Lissari crystals throughout the fleet glowed with increasing intensity. The area around the quantum fold began to shimmer as overlapping harmonics built up. "Nexari dissolution at 60%, reported Dr. Mehta. "We're losing them." "Mark." The fleet's quantum drives engaged simultaneously. A web of energy formed between the ships, channeled through the Lissari crystals. The harmonic frequency built up, pushing against the quantum collapse. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the impossible occurred, the collapse slowed, stopped, and began to reverse. "It's working!" Priya shouted. "The quantum field is stabilizing." But they weren't done. For 6 hours, the fleet maintained their precise formation, their quantum drive straining against the collapse. Engineers fought to keep systems online as the massive energy expenditure pushed their ships to their limits. Finally, the Nexari civilization fully materialized in normal space. Their city-sized structure of pure energy stabilized, its light steady and strong. The first message they sent was simple: "We live. You have done the impossible." As medical ships moved in to help the Nexari adjust to their new quantum state, Voss received another message, this one from Earth Command. Other species had been watching the rescue operation. The impossible feat of saving an entire civilization from quantum collapse had caught the galaxy's attention. "The Arcturians are asking if we would consider establishing a permanent rescue fleet," the message read. "The Vega Collective wants to discuss sharing quantum technology. The Lissari are proposing a joint emergency response protocol." Voss smiled. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy not through warfare or economic dominance, but by refusing to let anyone face disaster alone. Their determination to help, combined with their innovative approach to seemingly impossible problems, was changing the way species interacted. "Send word to Earth," she instructed. "Tell them we're going to need more ships. And ask the Lissari if they'd be interested in a joint training program for quantum rescue operations." As she watched the Nexari city gleaming in space, its energy patterns now stable and bright, Voss reflected on how far humanity had come. 6 months ago, they had made first contact. Now they were becoming known throughout the galaxy as the species you called when all hope seemed lost. The quantum gambit had paid off, not just in saving the Nexari, but in showing the galaxy what was possible when determination met innovation. And this was just the beginning. The Grand Council chamber of the newly established Interstellar Emergency Response Coalition, IERC, hummed with activity. Representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations gathered to discuss what the media had dubbed the human approach to crisis management. Admiral Voss sat beside Ambassador Kai Nakamura, watching the proceedings with carefully contained amusement. "The humans have no concept of acceptable risk parameters," the mechaloid representative droned, their synthetic voice carrying notes of both frustration and admiration. "They deployed 50 ships for a single rescue operation. 50. And saved an entire civilization," Ambassador Nakamura replied smoothly. "We call it appropriate force allocation." The past 3 months had seen a fundamental shift in galactic politics. The successful rescue of both the Lissari and Nexari had established humanity as something unprecedented, a species whose first instinct wasn't conquest or commerce, but assistance. It made some civilizations nervous. It made others curious. The Quantum Dawn's mess hall had become an unlikely hub of diplomatic relations. Chief Medical Officer Diana Rodriguez found herself hosting informal gatherings where species who had never previously interacted learned to understand each other. The Nexari, who existed as patterns of pure energy, were fascinated by the concept of physical sustenance. The crystalline Lasari discovered they could create harmonic resonances that human crews found beautifully relaxing. "We need to establish protocols," insisted High Commander Xyrix of the Arcturian Defense Fleet. "The humans cannot simply appear whenever they detect a distress signal." "Why not?" The question came from an unexpected source. First speaker Luminance, representing the Nexari, their energy form shimmering with emotion. "When our civilization faced extinction, the humans didn't wait for protocols. They came. They innovated. They saved us." The debate raged on, but humanity had already changed the equation. The IERC headquarters, built in neutral space, incorporated elements from all member species. Lasari crystals powered its quantum communications array. Nexari energy matrices enhanced its sensor systems. Human determination drove its mission. Deep in the engineering section of the Quantum Dawn, Lieutenant Commander Priya Patel worked alongside Lasari and Nexari scientists, developing what they called the Universal Response System. The project combined human ingenuity, Lasari crystalline technology, and Nexari quantum understanding into something revolutionary. "The challenge isn't technical," Priya explained to Admiral Voss during a project review. "It's cultural. Every species has different concepts of emergency, different protocols for assistance. We're not just building a rescue system, we're creating a common language of help." The breakthrough came from an unexpected quarter. During a routine cultural exchange, a human engineer introduced their alien colleagues to the concept of music. The Lasari, who experienced reality through crystalline harmonics, and the Nexari, who existed as energy frequencies, found unexpected common ground with human musical mathematics. "It's all patterns," Dr. Ravi Mehta realized. "Whether it's quantum harmonics, crystalline resonance, or musical notes, we're all trying to create order from chaos. We just need to learn to sing together." This insight led to the development of the Harmony Protocols, a set of emergency response guidelines that incorporated the strengths of each species. Human determination and creativity, Lasari precision and stability, Nexari quantum manipulation, and contributions from dozens of other civilizations. The protocols were put to the test sooner than anyone expected. A mechaloid mining colony in the Carina sector reported critical reactor failures. The response was immediate and coordinated. Human ships provided the backbone of the rescue fleet, their modified quantum drives harmonizing with Lasari crystal arrays. Nexari energy beings stabilized the failing reactors. The colony was saved with 0 casualties. "This is what we've been working toward," Admiral Voss told the assembled IERC representatives afterward. "Not just saving lives, but learning how to work together. Every crisis is an opportunity to understand each other better." The impact rippled through galactic society. Trade routes were redrawn to ensure faster emergency response times. Species that had been historical enemies found themselves training together in joint rescue operations. The human concept of first responders became a cultural touchstone across civilizations. In the Quantum Dawn's observation lounge, Ambassador Nakamura stood with Crystal Song in darkness and luminance, watching ships from a dozen species practicing formation maneuvers. "When we looked to the stars," Nakamura mused, "we hoped to find friends. Instead, we found family, beings who, despite all our differences, share our belief that no one should face disaster alone." The Lasari crystal chimed in harmony with the Nexari's energy pulse, creating a sound that human ears interpreted as music. It was, perhaps, the perfect metaphor for what humanity had achieved, not dominance or mere coexistence, but true cooperation, each species contributing its unique voice to a greater whole. The Quantum Dawn's engineering bay had transformed into what Lieutenant Commander Priya Patel called the galaxy's most ambitious workshop. Hybrid technologies lined the walls, quantum drives merged with Lasari crystals, Nexary energy matrices integrated into human computer systems, and dozens of other innovations born from necessity and collaboration. The latest breakthrough sat on the main workbench, the Universal Translator Matrix. Unlike traditional translation devices, this one operated on a quantum level, allowing instantaneous communication between all known species. It had started as an emergency response tool but was rapidly becoming something more. The quantum harmonics allow direct consciousness interface, Priya explained to the assembled team. Whether you're dealing with crystalline thought patterns, energy wavelengths, or human brainwaves, the matrix finds the common frequency. Fleet Commander Turner watched a demonstration where a human engineer, a Lasari crystal form, and a Nexary energy being collaborated on a complex repair simulation. Their thoughts flowed seamlessly through the matrix, creating a shared understanding that transcended traditional communication barriers. The innovation hadn't stopped there. The Harmony protocols had evolved into what they now called the Unified Response Network. Every participating ship carried a quantum crystalline core, allowing instant coordination across vast distances. When disasters struck, response times had dropped from days to minutes. But the most significant development came from an unexpected direction. During a routine rescue operation, a human engineer noticed that the combined quantum crystalline fields were creating microstabilizations in spacetime itself. Dr. Ravi Mehta's team spent months studying the phenomenon. "We're not just moving through space anymore," Ravi announced during a breakthrough presentation. "We're learning to work with it." The quantum harmonics, when properly tuned, can create stable corridors through spacetime. The implications were staggering. The rescue fleet had accidentally discovered a way to create permanent emergency response routes, stable pathways through space that any ship with the right quantum crystalline configuration could access. The galaxy was about to become a much smaller place. Admiral Voss stood on the Quantum Dawn's bridge, watching as the first permanent quantum corridor took shape. 50 ships, their hybrid drives pulsing in perfect harmony, created a shimmering pathway through space. The Lasari provided the stabilization crystals, the Nexary managed the quantum fields, and human determination made it all work together. "Route Alpha is stable," Priya reported, her voice carrying the excitement of scientific discovery. "We're reading consistent quantum harmonics across all monitoring stations." The first test flight through the corridor reduced a 3-week journey to mere hours. More importantly, the corridor was self-sustaining, powered by the very quantum fluctuations it channeled. The galaxy's emergency response network had just become exponentially more effective. But the innovations weren't limited to grand-scale projects. Small, practical improvements were changing daily operations throughout the fleet. Human medical technology, combined with Lasari crystalline healing matrices and Nexary energy manipulation, had created treatment options that bordered on miraculous. Engineering teams had developed hybrid tools that could repair everything from standard hull breaches to quantum field disruptions. The Quantum Dawn itself had become a testament to this technological synthesis. Its hull now incorporated Lasari crystal arrays that could redirect energy attacks. Its computer core used Nexary quantum processing to calculate rescue trajectories with unprecedented accuracy. Even its life support systems had been enhanced, creating environments that could accommodate any known species. In the ship's new Unified Operations Center, representatives from 20 different species worked together, their thoughts and ideas flowing through the Universal Translator Matrix. They monitored the growing network of quantum corridors, coordinated rescue operations, and continued pushing the boundaries of what was possible. "We never imagined this," Ambassador Nakamura admitted during a tour for new coalition members. "We thought we were building an emergency response system. Instead, we're reshaping the fundamental way species interact with space and each other." The technology was spreading beyond emergency response. Trade ships equipped with quantum crystalline cores could now navigate the stable corridors. Scientific vessels used modified versions of the translator matrix to study phenomena that had previously been beyond comprehension. The barriers between species were falling, one innovation at a time. As the Quantum Dawn prepared for another rescue mission, Admiral Voss reflected on how far they'd come. Humanity's drive to help others had sparked a technological revolution, but more importantly, it had created connections that transcended physical forms. In trying to save lives, they had found a way to unite the galaxy. 5 years after the first Lasari rescue, the galaxy had transformed. The Quantum Dawn, now a living legend, approached Earth's orbital dock for a rare refit. Admiral Voss stood at her familiar position on the bridge, watching her home planet grow larger in the view screen. The ship's quantum crystalline core hummed with a harmony that had become the heartbeat of interstellar cooperation. The statistics told an extraordinary story. Over 3,000 successful rescue operations. 15 new species integrated into the Interstellar Emergency Response Coalition. A network of quantum corridors spanning the known galaxy. But numbers couldn't capture the true scope of what humanity had initiated. In the ship's memorial hall, holographic displays showed key moments from their journey. The desperate rescue of the Lasari habitat. The quantum gambit that saved the Nexari. The creation of the first stable corridor. Each crisis had brought species closer together, each solution had pushed the boundaries of possibility. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Priya called from her station. The Galactic Assembly is ready to begin the ceremony. The ceremony, marking the official establishment of the Universal Safety Protocol, was being broadcast across all known space. Representatives from every member species gathered, physically or virtually, to witness the next step in galactic cooperation. The Quantum Dawn's observation deck had been transformed for the occasion. Lasari crystal formations created natural amphitheaters. Nexari energy beings provided living light displays. Dozens of other species contributed their own touches, making the space a physical representation of their united future. First speaker Luminance, still shimmering with the same intensity as when they were rescued years ago, addressed the assembly. We gathered here first in crisis, united by humanity's determination to help others. We continue now in strength, bound by bonds stronger than mere treaties. The Universal Safety Protocol wasn't just about emergency response anymore. It had evolved into a framework for galactic cooperation. The quantum corridors that had been built for rescue ships now carried cultural exchanges, scientific expeditions, and diplomatic missions. The translator matrix that had been developed for crisis communication now facilitated deep cultural understanding. Ambassador Nakamura presented the final component of the protocol, the Harmony Initiative. We've learned that true safety comes not just from responding to emergencies, but from understanding each other deeply enough to prevent them. Every species brings unique perspectives, unique solutions. Together, we are stronger than we ever could be alone. As if to demonstrate this unity, a crisis alert sounded. A mining colony on the galaxy's rim had detected dangerous gravitational anomalies. The response was immediate and coordinated. Ships from 12 different species, their quantum crystalline cores singing in harmony, moved through the corridor network with practiced precision. Admiral Voss watched the operation unfold on the main display. 5 years ago, such coordination would have seemed impossible. Now it was routine. The rescue succeeded with minimal drama, just another day in a galaxy that had learned to work together. You know what impresses me most? Dr. Ravi Mehta remarked, standing beside Voss as they watched the rescue ships return. It's not the technology, though that's remarkable. It's how normal this has become. Species that once barely acknowledged each other's existence now risk their lives together to help strangers. The legacy of humanity's first major rescue mission had grown far beyond what anyone could have imagined. The Quantum Dawn's next generation of crew members included representatives from every member species, all trained in what had become known as the human approach, the philosophy that no call for help should go unanswered, no matter the risk or difficulty. As the ceremony concluded, Admiral Voss received one final report. A new species, previously unknown, had joined the coalition after witnessing a rescue operation. Their message was simple: we see how the galaxy has changed. We want to be part of this future. Looking out at Earth, where it had all begun, Voss reflected on humanity's journey. They had reached for the stars hoping to find wonders, and they had. But more importantly, they had shown the galaxy a fundamental truth, that the greatest wonder of all was the ability to reach across the void, across differences in form and thought, to help others in need. The Quantum Dawn's quantum crystalline core pulsed with a harmony that echoed through space, joining the symphony of a united galaxy. It was a song of hope, of determination, and of the boundless possibilities that arose when beings chose to face the universe's challenges together.